Hello and welcome to another update video about XLM Stellar. Yeah, it's trolling just above support, can't really leave our support line here. The line in the sand, yeah, which is here the 61.8 retracement level. It did hold, yeah, it did hold. Price stopped slightly above it, just very slightly above this 61.8 retracement level. 10.9 cents remains support. As long as the price is above that level, it can obviously, it could move still up in a bullish scenario, in a diagonal pattern basically. It would basically be a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. Again, this is a very I don't want to say unlikely, but an unreliable scenario, which is why I took it off the chart now. So I've taken it off the chart. We talked about it in the previous video, but I explained to you, you can't trust diagonals anyway. I've taken it off the chart, also given the latest drop down here. So what are the other options we have? Well, see, it could come down a little more if it needs to, but is it something we trust? Not really. Why would that be possible? Well, see, we've got on this chart a 3-wave move to the upside, which I can count as a wave 2 correction, which would sell off in a 3rd wave, completely new lows. But it is technically possible that this 3-wave move is simply the first wave, basically an A wave of a larger ABC structure, which is what we discussed in previous videos. So it could easily reset this wave 2 a little higher. This wave 2 would move over here, and then we would have potentially a so-called WXY structure. However, below the 9.3 cent level, I can't trust that scenario anymore. The problem is, if it's forming a so-called flat structure, which is however rare in a wave 2, then we could have an A wave, an overshooting B wave to the downside, and a C wave rally. So again, therefore, we need to give this more space, okay? The problem with that scenario is you can't really trust it. So it's nothing that, in my opinion, at least not if you're using Elliott wave, gives you a great edge, okay? So you can then still trade with, I don't know, supply demand zones. You can trade with other stuff if you feel that has a higher reliability. But from an Elliott wave point of view, this chart is absolutely unreliable because this is just a corrective pattern. So now after 3 waves up, we can always say, okay, possibly a cycle is over and it comes down. And that's sort of what I would, just from a mindset point of view, expect now, that it will come down lower as long as this high isn't broken anymore. Yeah, we had a resistance area here against that level, or that range we said we focus on lower. That's why it's resistance. But it hasn't even reached it. Well, it did come very close, but it hasn't reached the 20.6 cent level, which is the 38.2 retracement. So it's a tough chart to deal with. It's a difficult chart. Maybe even some kind of a triangle forms here. So also bear in mind that we've got an ascending trend line here. I would not ignore that one. I would pay attention to it as well. Be aware that if we look at the bigger picture, what could be forming here is a major triangle. That's also possible. So that's what I mean. It could always reset this wave 2 higher, or in a triangle, this would even be a different structure. It would be, for example, if we say, okay, we have a triangle here, it would need to be a different bigger picture wave count. But okay, we could say the A wave came down and the B wave is now unfolding as a triangle. Then we are dealing here with an A wave, a B wave, a C wave. So it could be a C wave in the triangle scenario, a D and an E, and then break down. Yeah, so I hope you get what I mean. This is an unreliable chart. I know it's a popular chart among many, but it just doesn't give you a great edge if you trade just with Elliott wave. Or actually, what Elliott wave does, and that's very valuable, it tells you it is an unreliable chart. It doesn't really get off the ground. Yeah, it hasn't really been trending since 2018, which is not very good. Can you see that? It's volatile, but then volatility has significantly reduced a year ago. There's not much going on. So overall, if you trade, you can just observe that trend line. We're hovering here around support. It's a relevant trend line, so maybe it can push higher from here. But then I would be watching the 10.9 cent level. Okay, below that level, we can still give the 9.3 cent level a chance to create a bounce. below that level, I only have the trend line left. If that breaks, well, guess what? Then we're breaking out of a long-term consolidation phase, and that would not be good. And then we would just be following the white wave count. So this is more, I'm just telling you here the relevant levels to watch, really, highlighting that this is not a very reliable chart. We always need impulses. Well, you can argue there might be an impulse here to the downside, which again makes me favor the white wave count. But in the white wave count, as opposed to the larger triangle, it could simply reset the wave 2 a little higher. So these are not very attractive charts, also not from an analysis point of view, because they just include too many possibilities. What we basically need to see is a first impulse. And at the moment, there is nothing here that would be impulsive, yeah. I mean, if we go to the 4-hour chart, what is this move to the downside? It looks corrective to a degree, right? I could make the case for potentially an ABC structure to the downside, yeah, but the C wave as an ending diagonal. So this might be an A wave, B wave, and the C wave is unfolding as an ending diagonal, and it might need another low. So wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. This here could have been a 4 and a wave 5. That's best I can tell. Let me just change the wave degree of this, make it a bit larger actually. Like this. So that means, okay, if we have an ABC structure to the downside, you could say, okay, possibly it will extend the wave 2 higher, yeah? But I will not give you that as a high likelihood scenario. So I would just say, okay, look, with one more low, we have another cycle complete, 3 waves down. So pay attention to these levels and maybe it's going to reverse. And trading the C wave or trading this extension higher, it would just be an ABC probably, a C wave higher. It would be a 5-wave move. So without waiting for that, if you see a first 1-2 setup, I think then, you could always attempt to trade, but everything else is just unreliable. But this is generally the area where we would expect a bounce, yeah, an attempt for a bounce, yeah. But without a signal, I can't tell you that with high confidence. So yeah, that's my update about XLM. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.